What do women really want when it comes to size? It's a question that never seems to disappear. Scroll through social media for more than a few minutes or sit at a dinner table where the wine has been flowing and chances are someone will eventually bring it up. Jokes, casual remarks, sometimes even heated debates all orbit around this same idea. Does size matter? And more specifically, does bigger always mean better? Some men secretly fear the answer, while others boast about it. But let's pause for a moment and ask something more direct, more honest, and more useful. Do women actually want an enormous 12-inch penis, or is that just a cultural fantasy? I'm Dr. Hannah Kim, men's sexual health expert. My work centers on evidence, not assumptions. And today, I want to clear away the myths and the noise. We're going to explore what women truly prefer when it comes to penis size. Not based on locker room talk or sensational headlines, but grounded in research, in purchasing behavior, and in lived experiences. And I'll warn you right now, the truth may be very different from what you've been told. Before diving into the data, it's important to understand the challenge. Asking people about their intimate preferences doesn't always produce reliable answers. Social expectations, embarrassment, or the desire to impress can shape how people respond. That's why researchers sometimes take more creative routes to uncover what's really happening beneath the surface. One clever method is to look at what women actually purchase for themselves, specifically in the world of adult toys. The reasoning is straightforward. When someone spends money on a product meant for their private use with no one watching, those choices often reveal more authentic preferences than what they might admit in a survey or a conversation. So what do the numbers show? Researchers reviewed best-selling toys across 8 major distributors, focusing on products designed for vaginal insertion. And here's the fascinating part. The most commonly purchased lengths fell between 4 and 6 in. Yes, 4 to 6. Not 10, not 12, not outrageous extremes. Even more revealing, on 6 of the 8 websites, the average bestseller length was under 6 in. Girth followed a similar trend, averaging under 4.5 in. Let's put that in perspective. Those numbers are remarkably close to the global average erect penis size. In other words, the most popular toys align almost exactly with what most men naturally have. That's not coincidence. It's a reflection of what works comfortably and pleasurably for most bodies. Now, many men don't actually know what average is, which leads to unnecessary anxiety. Studies across multiple countries consistently show that the average erect length falls between 5 and 6 in, with a circumference of around 4.5 to 5 in. Yet, because pornography and cultural exaggerations bombard us with images of much larger anatomy, many men mistakenly believe they're smaller than they should be. The truth is that if you're within this range, you're not only normal, you're exactly what most women naturally choose when given the option. To cross-check these findings, researchers examined best-selling realistic dildos from the top 5 US retailers and Amazon. Here, the numbers shifted slightly. The average length was about 16.7 centimeters or 6.5 in. That's just a bit longer than average, but still far from extreme. What does this suggest? Possibly that curiosity plays a role. Some women may want to experiment with something slightly larger than average, but the overwhelming trend is still toward moderation, not excess. But length alone doesn't tell the whole story. Another set of researchers dug deeper into what factors truly drive popularity. Their analysis revealed something surprising to many men. Prices and circumference had a much greater impact than length. Many women prioritized affordability and a comfortable fit over chasing maximum size. In fact, products with girths above average often ranked lower in popularity. Why? Because comfort, ease of use, and practicality often matter far more than novelty or extremes. So what does all this mean when we step back? When women are free to choose privately without judgment, the majority gravitate towards something within the normal human range. Average length, average girth, maybe just slightly above average in some cases. Not extreme, not intimidating, just comfortable, functional, and pleasurable. This finding flips the media narrative upside down. Popular culture might glorify larger than life size, but real-world behavior tells a different story. Women are choosing average, not because they're settling, but because that's what feels best for their bodies. Here's the bottom line. If your size falls within the average range, you have absolutely nothing to worry about. You're more than adequate. You're normal, and you're fully capable of satisfying your partner. Yes, there will always be outliers. People who joke, people who exaggerate, or people with very specific preferences. But on the whole, the evidence shows that average is not just acceptable, it's actually the most desired. Think about that for a second. When women make decisions privately, when they're not trying to impress anyone or follow cultural scripts, the vast majority consistently choose average. That should be profoundly reassuring for many men who have spent years doubting themselves. Now let's bring in one more fascinating detail. A separate study found that women who regularly reach orgasm through vaginal penetration, not clitoral stimulation, but vaginal orgasm, reported a slight preference for longer length. However, this slight is key. We're talking about modest differences, maybe an extra half-inch or so, not dramatic leaps into double digits. It's worth mentioning because it highlights the diversity of experiences. Some women might enjoy slightly more length, but the vast majority still sit comfortably in the average range. At this point, it's crucial to remember something often overlooked in these conversations. Sex is not a competition of inches. Sexual connection goes far beyond measurements. Confidence, communication, attentiveness, and emotional intimacy all play far greater roles in creating a satisfying experience. Research consistently shows that factors like mutual trust, emotional closeness, and a partner's willingness to listen and adapt often predicts satisfaction far more accurately than physical size ever could. A man who is present, confident, and caring can offer far more fulfillment than someone who relies solely on anatomy. And here's a perspective shift. Many men who struggle with insecurity around size actually hold themselves back more with their anxiety than with their bodies. When you worry excessively, it can undermine confidence, create performance pressure, and reduce enjoyment for both partners. By contrast, knowledge and reassurance from evidence can free you to focus on what truly matters: connection, playfulness, and intimacy. So, here's the truth in plain language. Most men are perfectly fine just as they are. Women aren't secretly craving giants. They're overwhelmingly choosing comfort, compatibility, and intimacy. If you fall within the average range, and statistically that means you almost certainly do, you already have what you need. If this information brought you some peace of mind, let me invite you to explore one of my earlier videos where I break down that study on vaginal orgasms in more depth. It adds nuance, but again emphasizes modest differences, not extremes. And before I go, let me leave you with this. Sexual confidence is built on knowledge, not comparison. Every time you let go of unrealistic standards and focus instead on connection, communication, and emotional presence, you unlock a level of intimacy far more powerful than size could ever provide. So take this as your reminder. You are more than enough. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And above all, take care of yourself, because your worth has never depended on a